Strange, isn't it? Each man's life touches so many other lives. And when he isn't around, he leaves an awful hole, doesn't he?
Just as George Bailey in It's a Wonderful Life had no idea of how his life would impact those living in the fictional town of Bedford Falls, it's doubtful that an organization formed in 1944 knew of the positive, lasting legacy they would have on the Pueblo community. Inspired by God's love and using a two-generation approach to fight poverty, Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Pueblo has been making a difference in the communities of southern Colorado for 75 years. Let's take a look and see how the work of Catholic Charities has touched the lives of many individuals and families in our community.
We did what we needed to do to make sure that people could live whole and healthy lives.
My family is stable, and it's because of rehire. If I hadn't had Catholic Charities help me with this, I shudder to think where I'd be today.
He's our first child, and I realized pretty quickly that we had no idea what to do as far as child-proofing. The support and education that the Safe Care program has provided has been absolutely invaluable to me and our family.
Catholic Charities probably is one of the best things I could have got involved in. Options to Change helped me decide what I really had a passion for. I ended up changing my whole career around.
I'm so proud that we are celebrating our 75th anniversary. I think we make this community a better, richer, more vibrant and diverse place. We were started on April 6, 1944. It started off with just a handful of programs.
It's interesting to look at those records and realize that since the organization began, it's always been about caring for families. In the early days, adoption was a huge program. The family assistance programs have been in existence again since the beginning of the agency.
As we saw more needs in the community, we expanded our services.
Back in the 60s, people who were employed at CF&I sent their checks over to Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities literally managed their money for them. They'd sign their checks over, and Catholic Charities would pay all their bills and give them a stipend so that the families didn't have to worry about whether or not their bills were being paid. And that was really the beginning of our representative payee program, which goes till this day and I think has over 200 people enrolled in it. Our family education programs that I know the agency is very famous for started at United Way with bright beginnings. And when we brought that over to Catholic Charities, it just grew and grew to what people now know as two-generation support services for families.
You can't just help the kids, you gotta help the parents. Education is the best way to escape poverty. You have to work with the kids because we know 85% of brain development happens those first 5 years. We want them to live a life rich in meaning. So we want to work with them those first 5 years, get them ready for school.
I do think that the Hippie program will help our kids in the long run. It does start with the foundation of how you bring up your child, how you teach them, educate them to become leaders in the community. My daughter, it's brought her out of her shell at group meetings. She speaks to people, she makes new friends. It has definitely helped her.
From 1944 until today, we have evolved. We have over 24 programs.
There's three people who I really want to recognize, and one is Bishop Buswell, who back in the 60s sent Father Capuchin to Catholic University to get his master's in social work, and in 1964, Father Capuchin, now Monsignor, became the director of what was then Catholic Social Services, and he was involved in Catholic Social Services until 2000. That's a long time, and he made tremendous impact on this community. Shirley Knoffel, who worked with him and has the record as the longest employed of Catholic Charities, was a rock for this organization and filled in everywhere and did everything that needed to be done. And Bishop Tafoya, when I came in 2000, we worked so closely on several of these programs.
I think if I can do more at Catholic Charities, it is only because I stand on the shoulders of giants. Giants like Monsignor Capuchin, Jane Mazur, Ida Rhodes, and Jack Quinn. They left a legacy of an agency that does things right.
Without Catholic Charities, I think this community would be diminished. I think it would not have a place for people to come when they're maybe at their most despair and find hope.
We pay utility bills for folks who, if we didn't pay, might become homeless. We manage 350 Social Security payees. We get their Social Security check, we pay all their bills, we then give them a weekly allowance. This lets them stay in their homes and remain stable.
One of the things I loved about working with Catholic Charities was the ability to be flexible and respond to people's needs regardless of what they were. Our mission was very much grounded in our faith.
We impact over 12,000 individuals every year. And since we've been around for 75 years, that's a whole lot of families that we have helped.
I think of all the families that have been made whole through our adoption programs. I think of all the people who've been able to live stable lives because we've been able to manage their money for them. I think of all the people who used to come here for mental health counseling who were healed because of the services they received here. And of course, the family education programs are tremendous. I would hope that the benefit of people who became involved in Catholic Charities is that they were able to become the best they could be and actualize everything that they needed to become a full human being. 75 years is a long time to be in a community and be relevant in a community, and I expect Catholic Charities is going to be around for another 75 years and another 75 years after that.
As you've seen, the lives of many in Southern Colorado have been positively changed by the work of Catholic Charities. As the organization looks to the future, we are reminded of the motto of George Bailey's father, Peter, that read, "All you can take with you is that which you've given away." Together, we can help provide a wonderful life for the next generation in Southern Colorado.